So the sonnet is usually defined as a 14-line poem written in iambic pentameter. The sonnet was a major poetry art form in the Elizabethan period. But the form originated in Renaissance Italy, where it was popularized by Francesco Petrarch. The sonnet is a lyrical poem, and being a lyrical poem, it has intense emotion. And that is because it talks about an emotional subject matter, which is love, and the issues that usually surround love. So the major subject matter of the sonnet is love. And the issues that relate to love. This love is human because it is the love between a man and a woman. The other related subject matter usually depicted in the sonnets is the passage of time, or how the passage of time relates to human love or affects human love. The passage of time and how the passage of time relates to or affects human or influences or impacts on human love. Another theme usually rests in the sonnets is mortality and immortality, which is still linked to the subject matter of love. If human love is subject to time, then when should an individual love? If time passes and people change, why should love be constant? These are the questions. We have two types of sonnets. We have the Italian sonnet. If you don't call it Italian sonnet, you can call it the Petrarchan sonnet. And then the second type is the English sonnet. You don't call it English sonnet, and call it Shakespearean sonnet. You can also call it Elizabethan sonnet. The Petrarchan sonnet, or the Italian sonnet, was practiced in Renaissance Italy. And it was popularized by Francesco Petrarch. Then later in the century, English writers traveled to Rome and brought back the form to England. English writers like Thomas Watt, Henry Howard imported the form to England and modified it to make it English sonnet in due time. The English sonnet was popularized by William Shakespeare, who wrote 154 sonnets to surpass all the other writers who practiced the form during the English Renaissance. We usually have the difference between the Elizabethan sonnets and the Italian sonnets in terms of form. There's a difference between the English sonnet and the Italian sonnet in relation to form or style. The Italian sonnet is organized in an octave and a sestet, octave and a sestet. That means that it has the first 8 lines followed by the last 6 lines. It's not as if these stanzaic demarcation is obvious. It's not as if this stanzaic demarcation is obvious. Rather, it is denoted by the rhyme scheme. It is denoted by the rhyme scheme. They're all written as one long stanza. It's only the rhyme scheme that gives us a sense of the stanza demarcation. And the rhyme scheme that gives us the sense of stanza demarcation. The rhyme scheme is for the octave A B B A B B A. For the octave, the rhyme scheme is A B B A B B A. For the octave, the rhyme scheme is A B B A B B A. So we count that, that's 8 lines. Then for the sextet is not constant. The rhyme scheme for the sextet is not constant, it varies. Only the rhyme scheme of the octave is constant. In the Petrarchan or Italian sonnet. So it can be CDE, CDE. It can be CDC, CDC. It can also be any other variant. The subject matter of the sonnet is usually raised in the octave and then resolved in the sextet. Subject matter of the sonnet is usually raised in the octave and resolved in the sextet. And as we already said, the subject matter is usually love. The subject matter is usually love. And the love is usually unrequited. In the Petrarchan sonnet, the love is usually unrequited. That means the love is not returned, reciprocated. And so the sonnet is an avenue for the lover, for the rejected lover to bemoan his circumstances. Tell us how he feels being so treated. The English sonnet, on the other hand, is organized in 3 quatrains and a couplet. The English sonnet, on the other hand, is organized in 3 quatrains and a couplet. Each quatrain is made up of 4 lines. The quatrain is a stanza of 4 lines. So 3 should give you 12 lines, and then you have the couplet, 2 lines. It makes it 14. Again, the stanza demarcation is not obvious because everything is written as one stanza. The only thing that helps us determine the stanza demarcation is the rhyme scheme. The thing that helps us to determine the stanza demarcation is the rhyme scheme. And the rhyme scheme for the English sonnet is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G, A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. The subject matter of the sonnet is raised and discussed in the quatrains. The subject matter of the sonnet is raised and discussed in the quatrain. And resolved abruptly and creatively in the couplet. And resolved, concluded abruptly and creatively in the couplets, the last 2 lines. As already stated, sonnets are songs. But another name for the sonnet is song, love song. The sonnet is a love song. The sonnet is a love song. So this explains why its major subject matter is love. As already stated, the sonnet interrogates the human love that exists between a guy and a girl. And the love is usually unrequited. Meaning that the love is not returned. It is likely that the man loves the woman, but probably the woman is hesitant to love the man back. And sometimes the sonneteer uses the sonneteer, the person who sings the sonnet, uses it to try to persuade the woman to see the need to love him back. Might use different reasons. Some of them truth, some of them lies. And one of the reasons could be that The lady has no time. The time will soon catch up with the lady. Or that the lady needs to marry so as to have her own child because she might grow old soon. Or he might tell the world how he feels being so unloved and rejected. So you could see that the themes normally raised in the sonnets are love themes, the fact that time passes by and things change in the human constitution. Time passes by and people grow old. They need to do things on time, marry on time. Reproduction, have your own children before you grow old. In fact, mostly the theme of the sonnets revolves around carpe diem. Carpe diem themes. Theme of the sonnets revolves around carpe diem. The concept of the carpe diem. Which is Latin for seize the moment or seize the day. Seize the moment or seize the day. Don't let the opportunity to pass by. Seize the moment or seize the day. You are young now. Very soon you grow old. You won't have your beauty again. Why don't you have a child now? Marry and have a child now. So that that child will represent your youth when you grow old. Those are the arguments. Or the sonneteer simply bemoans his being rejected by the one he loves. So we are going to take 2 or 3 sonnets, just read them through. The first one I would like to take is I Find No Peace by Sir Thomas Watt. I find no peace. Remember that Watt was one of those who brought the sonnet form from Rome. In this particular poem, he is using the Petrarchan style because of the rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme suits the Petrarchan style. It is A, B, B, A, A, B, B, A, C, D, E, C, D, E. So let me read the poem, then we discuss it briefly, and then we move on to another poem. I find no peace, and all my war is done. I fear and hope, I burn and freeze like ice. I fly above the wind, yet can I not rise. And not I have, and all the world I season. That loosed nor locked holdeth me in prison. and holdeth me not, yet can I escape no wise, nor letteth me live, nor die at my device. And yet of death it giveth me occasion, without even I see, and without tongue I plain. I desire to perish, and yet I ask health. I love another, and thus I hate myself. I feed me in sorrow, and laugh in all my pain. Likewise displeaseth me both life and death, and my delight is causer of this strife. So that is the poem. And the major device deployed in I Find No Peace by Thomas White is antithesis. Antithesis. Which is a trope, literary trope, in which an expression contains opposing ideas. One expression contains opposing ideas. The expression is usually in two parts. One part contains an idea that opposes the idea in the second part. That is antithesis. And why Watts deploys antithesis in this poem is that he wants to talk about the persona's contrary states simply because he is in love with someone who does not love him back. The feeling that a lover has when his love is spurned. When his love is spurned. So I will take the poem again, and I want you to pay attention to how each sentence contains opposing ideas. I find no peace, and all my war is done. So you could see in one part of the sentence you have peace, and the other part of the sentence you have war. Okay? I fear and hope. I burn and freeze like ice. So you could say fear and hope, okay? And then burn and freeze. You could see this lexical clashes in each of the expressions, all right? Notice the lexical clashes. In each of the expressions. They are deployed to depict the state of the lover's heart or mind at this point, who does not know whether he should sit or stand, or whether he should walk or run. And all this, it is a bit humorous to think that all this is caused by unrequited love. In the third line, it says, I fly above the wind, yet can I not arise. He flies and cannot, at the same time, cannot even stand up. Okay? And not I have, and all the world has seasoned. He doesn't have anything, but then he has all the world. Okay? You see the contrary states of the lover. That loseth nor locketh, holdeth me in prison, and holdeth me not, yet can I escape no wise. He feels like he's in prison. At the same time, he feels that nobody has locked him in any prison. And if nobody has locked him, or nobody is holding him, Why can't he escape? Because he knows that nobody holds him, but he cannot escape. And holding me not, yet can I escape no wise. Now let me live nor die at my device. Live and die. Okay? He neither lives and neither dies nor dies. So that's the state of the lover's mind at that point. And yet of death is given me occasion. The occasion of being rejected by a lover is enough reason for him to die, but he cannot die. Without eye I see, and without tongue I plain. He can see without his eyes, and he can speak without tongue. I desire to perish, and yet I ask help. He wants to die, but then he asks for help. Okay? He needs to be healthy. I love another, and thus I hate myself. So in that, especially, I have love being contradicted with hate in the other part of the sentence. I love another, yet I hate myself. So the love that he would have had for himself, he has transferred it to another person, and because the person does not give back that love, so what remains with him is hate. Okay, perhaps what the person thinks that the person returns is hate, so he hates himself. I love another, and thus I hate myself. By loving another, the love that he would have had for himself, he has given it to another. But that other person has not given back the love. So what remains, what stays with him, is lovelessness. So he hates himself. I feed me in sorrow, and laugh in all my pain. Likewise displeaseth me both life and death, and my delight is causer of this strife. So these are the issues that are raised in Thomas Watt's I Find No Peace. So let's see whether we have another sonnet, perhaps the one of William Shakespeare, at least one. Okay, so we have, let's look at Sonnet 3 by William Shakespeare. Sonnet 3 by William Shakespeare. It says, look in thy glass and tell the face thou viewest, now is the time that face should form another, whose fresh repair, if now thou not renewest, thou dost beguile the world and bless some mother. For where is she so fair, whose uneared womb disdains the tillage of thy husbandry? Or who is he so fond will be the tomb of his self-love to stop posterity? Thou art thy mother's glass, and she in thee calls back the lovely April of the prime. So thou through windows of thine eyes shalt see, despite of wrinkles, this thy golden time. If thou live, remember not to be, thy single and thy image dies with thee. Okay, so in that point, in this sonnet 3, the persona is addressing, the persona is likely a male addressing a woman, okay? Perhaps the hesitant lover, the lover that will not want to marry, not want to give in to his proposal. And he's trying to give him a reason give her a reason for getting married. And he's telling her that the time has come for her to have another child like her. have a child that will represent her. So look in thy glass and tell the face thou view. When you look at the mirror, the face that you see is yours. So look in thy glass. That glass there is a metonym for mirror. And tell the face thou viewest. The face that you see in the mirror is your face. Now is the time that face should form another. It's the time for you to have another one like you, to reproduce, have a child. Another that looks like you is your child. Okay? That face should form another. So it's time for the person to have a child. Whose fresh repay, if now thou not renewest, thou dost beguile the world and bless some mother. Telling of the consequences of not renewing himself or herself, at this point, because the time has come. Maybe after now, she will grow old and might not be able to have a child again. Okay? And so this is the time to have a child so that she will not lose out in being a mother. All right? She will not be a mother if she does not have a child now. That's what the next two lines infer. For where is she so fair, whose uneared womb disdain the tillage of thy husbandry? That is a rhetorical question that tries to persuade the lady to marry and have a child, because it will not be fair for her to do that to herself and to the husband. Okay? Or who is he so fond will be the tomb of his self-love to stop posterity. There will be no future for the family if there is no child. And the lady will not do well by herself if she does not marry. Self-love is dangerous. The love has to be shared with another person, probably with the husband, to produce a child, to keep posterity in focus, meaning to continue the generation of the family. Because without the birth of a child, the family generation ends there. Okay? That's why we have the word tomb. Without getting married and having a child, you bury the future of the family, the posterity of the family. That is what the poem is saying. For who is so fond will be the tomb of his self-love to stop posterity. Self-love is compared to a grave that destroys the future of the family. Love that is not shared with another person, perhaps a husband, to bring forth a child. Okay? Then the person goes on to say, thou art thy mother's glass and she in thee. That means when the mother sees her, this particular maiden that refused to marry, she sees herself. That's why she's her mother's glass. That means she's a reflection of the mother. So now the mother is old. Now that the mother is old, she will look at her and sees her youth. Okay? Thou art thy mother's glass, and she in thee. And she in thee calls back the lovely April of our prime. That means when the mother sees this beautiful girl now who has refused to marry, the mother will recall when she was young. Alright? But the mother is old now. Supposing the mother did not have her, she will not remember, she will not be able to recall how beautiful she was when she was a young person. Alright? I think this will persuade anybody to get married, right? This poem will persuade anyone to get married, right? I think there's a lot of persuasion being used in this poem. Alright? So thou through windows of thine age shall see, despite of wrinkles, this thy golden mind. So he's telling her the same thing that your mother does, the same experience that your mother feels when she looks at you, is the same thing that you have when you grow old to be like your mother and you have a young child to look at to remind you of when you were young. So thou through windows of thy age shall see. Age is when you have grown old. Despite wrinkles, wrinkles that are signs, symbols of old age. This thy golden time. Golden time is the time of the woman when she's young and she's beautiful, um, and she's lovely. Okay, but that time will not always be there because after some years, that time will pass. Calling it April, April of our prime. Okay, and then the poem ends with a warning, a dangerous warning, very serious warning. It says, "But if thou live, remember not to be, die single, and thine image dies with thee." So if you die single, without getting married, you your image will die. You will not have a reflection. Not have someone to reflect your young age when you die. All right. So that is the point, and that is where we end our discussion on the sonnets.